And we're back with another episode of Wake Up with Wops. There's a lot to talk about just because we have a lot of war news with Iran and a bunch of other headlines. With all those headlines, though, we are not really crashing. We're actually doing the opposite. Yesterday, people thought it was over, but that's why I took a little bit to do this video just to see what's the real reaction. And I think we might be getting that real reaction today. We're starting off with Bitcoin, looking at the crypto side. Just looking at my crypto watch list, everything is green and it's up by a pretty decent amount. Ethereum's up 8%, Solana 6. Well, anyways, Bitcoin up 8% as well. And I actually thought this was a bear flag. You can see here there's a pull and then it consolidated. I thought it was going to break down and break this trend line and go lower, but then it faked me out and now we actually broke out of this little consolidation, and you have the 9 EMA and 20-day moving average right under the candle. Very strong candle today. I think it's going to reach 76 very, very quick, maybe even 80, and then we'll see that pullback or consolidation, but it's going to be a pretty quick move. It's pretty much happening. It's halfway there, and it's today, not even the end of the day. Hyperliquid is doing good. I made a video that we went all in around 30 bucks, 29, and we're up on that buy already, and it's looking like it's going to reach that 200-day moving average around 36 bucks, break through that, and hopefully go to the all-time highs, continue the uptrend. We talked about coming out of this bottom. We've been talking about on X. If you don't follow me, Wake Up with Wops. We also did some videos. Solana, you're going to see it's even deeper from the 200-day average over here at 155 compared to Hype, where we're about to break through. So it's showing relative strength compared to Solana and Ethereum. Ethereum and Solana have some ways to go to that 200-day moving average. Now let's move on to the stock side. Let's start with the SPY, S&P 500, just chopping around. We're in the same level we were at back in December of 2025, just chopping for months. And then right now we're actually have some resistance at the key moving averages, the 9-day, the 20-day, and that 50-day. So that's why we're not just blasting through that. It's probably gonna take some time, but eventually if we remount those levels, we could finally maybe break this trend line and continue the bull run. So we're looking at that. QQQ tech has been getting hit a little bit harder than the S&P, and you're going to see even reach into the 200-day average. It didn't quite touch it, but sometimes you're never going to get that perfect retest. Kind of recovered a little bit above, and now we remounted the 9-day and the 20-day average. Next resistance is over here at 615, where it rejected over here on Wednesday of last week. So watch that area for potential resistance, but if we break through, then we're looking good. Hopefully we could get some good movement. IWM, this is your small cap stocks holding the 50-day average. You see, yesterday people thought it was over. We kind of dipped down over here low to 253, but by the end of the close, we kind of buyer stepped in, bought it up, and now we're back above the 50-day average. I'm liking that for a potential break of this little consolidation range. Let's go over my position, starting with Core Weave. We talked about this. I made a very detailed post on X on why I decided to hold through earnings. You're going to see they missed on earnings, but they actually beat on revenue, a really good surprise on revenues. And we kind of dipped down on earnings, but now we're kind of doing that reversal. So it's potential for an earnings gap down reversal here. We do have resistance at these moving averages, but there's some news today, I believe, that Perplexity is buying for a multi-year deal or something, buying AI chips from them or something. I don't know too much. I don't read the headlines, guys. I just look at the charts. Chart's not too pretty, but we're at the bottom. If it continues dipping, then maybe I get out of this, but hopefully we continue holding for a longer run. It's going to be more of a position trade for me, holding for a longer term. Google hanging around the stop area, but it's a little double bottom here. You can see hopefully basing now, it's not just going right through, so I'm liking to see that. Hopefully we remount some moving averages and then continue the trend. It could just be a local bottom for Google. AMD, I widened the stop a little bit just because the 200-day average is there, and exactly what happened is that it held that 200-day average and now recovering pretty much good today, up 4 to 5%. Hopefully we continue going higher and remount the 50-day average around 218 in the next coming days. Earnings in 62 days, so I could hold this for a longer term hold. And then Apple pulled back. We were in the green for a couple days. It's pulled back, but holding that 50-day average, which we like to see, and then hopefully it can get back on trend. Now let's look into some stocks that I like. We've already talked about some, but we'll do a quick review. BWXT, Aerospace and Defense. I'm liking the potential breakout here. Netflix, we talked about that news not acquiring Warner Bros. Or something like that. And it actually popped on the news. Paramount is buying Warner Bros. Now, and Netflix investors actually like that. Something that I thought would be bad news is turning into a good reaction. Look for any pullbacks. Toll Brothers, above the 50-day average. It held yesterday. Today it's pulling back a little bit. Kind of like this home building play. Have it on watch. Kava, I like the breakout pullback to the 9 EMA. It broke out on earnings, you're going to see right there. Also above that 200-day moving average, so breaking through a long-term downtrend. Holding that 9 EMA. I don't really like the candle today, not a lot of volume, but if it picks up to the end of the close, I like this trigger. And then you target the top of the range, top of this candle. ASTS, doing good. Look at this earnings gap down reversal. This is what I was talking about earlier. It gapped down on earnings, but then it kind of reversed, and we like to see that above key moving averages. It's looking really good to reach that top around 130, 120s. IONQ, kind of the same thing with Kava. It's had good earnings. It's pulled back to the 9 EMA now, and it's holding. I like the entry here. Just have potential resistance here at 42 and then again at 47 with the 50-day average and the 200-day average. So just be aware of that, but I do like the entry here on this pullback after earnings. Now let's look at my earnings and breakout watch list. Walmart looking pretty good. Look at this relative strength compared while the market was pulling back, kind of just consolidating here above the 9-day and 20-day. Hopefully it breaks this range around, I would say about 128, maybe 129. Breaks that, and I like the continuation pattern for Walmart. HEI, little trade idea I played on my head because it gapped down on earnings, but then it held that 200-day average. So I like that as an earnings gap down reversal, and it looks like it's reversing now. Has some resistance with these moving averages. GD, another aerospace and defense name. I'm liking this. Probably a little bit more consolidations can give you an entry. We talked about Netflix already. Dell, good earnings. Look at that. Broke through the 200-day average, and now it looks like it's going to pull back to that 9 EMA. If that holds, that's a good entry for Dell. ODFL, I believe this is trucking transportation, yes. And then it's breaking out of this little flag. DG Dollar General breaking out of a flag, or it looked like it was a failed breakout, and now pulling back to that 20-day average. Watch for a breakout. Lunar, I like the remount of the 50-day average today. The 9 EMA is right under the daily candle. Looks like it's going to reach that previous high around like 22, 23. You do have earnings in 15 days, so be aware of that. HLT, this is Hilton holding the 50-day average, and then also you have Marriott holding the 50-day average. And that's it, guys. Just went through my positions, a bunch of stocks. We looked at the crypto side. We also looked at the indexes. Peace.